This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
The numbers told the story, they always do.
It's one of those idiots who believe in analytics.
This is a numbers game with Gil Alexander on VSiN.
May the 12th be with you on a Tuesday morning. Welcome on into a numbers game alongside Kelly Bidlin. I'm Dustin Swedelson here for another day. Appreciate you making us a part of your morning, however you may be tuning in. Sirius XM Channel 158, YouTube TV, the VSiN Watch app, and radio affiliates across the United States of God Bless America. We've got an awesome jam-packed, jelly-tight show to get to over the course of the next 3 hours. We've got one game on the wood. We've got two on the ice. We have a full baseball card. And, of course, NFL schedule news continuing to leak out through various sources. Wonder how that's happening, National Football League, as they always take over the calendar. We'll hit it all. We'll touch on it all. But more importantly, Kelly Bidlin,
yes,
we have to start with a night in the NBA that was truly riveting in every single sense of the word.
It was a good one.
I mean, you had two games, very different, where with history made in one, a future being impacted in another. So let's begin first with the Cleveland Cavaliers and what they did with the Detroit Pistons, because I got to tell you, 112-103, if you would have told me that at halftime, I never would have believed you, that Cleveland winds up winning this thing. In case you missed it, they laid the 3.5. They cover that. We go over 212 and a hook. As Cleveland, who was trailing by 4 at halftime, comes back thanks to a 22-0 run in the third quarter, and they wind up winning this thing, 112-103, and covering the number. You're sitting there watching it. You're ready for the talking points about James Harden is a giant loser and can never get over the hump. And now Donovan Mitchell, who you and I bet over 27.5 points on.
We called it dead.
I sent the old text to Kelly. You know what? We probably should have been concerned that we both really love the play. And he had, 4 points at halftime?
Yep.
Next thing you know, Donovan Mitchell has 39 second half points, and he goes on an absolute tear and leads the Cavs to a dub.
Yeah, it was, you bring up James Harden. I think we talked about it enough yesterday, though. There should be more pressure on Donovan Mitchell than any other Cleveland Cavalier. This is the guy that we've seen it from before in the past, in the playoffs, the 40-plus point games. He now has the same number career-wise as Steph, Luka, Jimmy Butler, Giannis, and Devin Booker. Only LeBron, Durant, Harden, and Brunson have more amongst active players. So, little stat for you there on Donovan Mitchell's big night. But yeah, man, that was needed for the Cleveland Cavaliers, especially in the second half. Like you said, they were down at halftime, getting that kind of play and seeing the guard play in general, him and James Harden come through, have big games. This is the type of offense that we expected, those of us that backed the Cavaliers to do something in this series. This is the type of offense that you expected, and now you shift back to Detroit, and it's all tied up. This Cavs team doesn't lose at home. They only lose on the road. So we'll see what Detroit can answer with in a couple nights here.
And you look at what Mitchell did historically. So we talk about 43 points in the game, 39 in the second half. Ties Sleepy Floyd, 1987, most points in a playoff half. I mean, I don't know what you got to do to be nicknamed Sleepy Floyd. Yep. I mean, maybe oversleep your alarm clock when you have a morning show to do on VSiN. Maybe that's what you get. You're called Sleepy Floyd.
I think a couple times. I think you got to do that a couple times.
Cavs are now 4-1 in the playoffs when Mitchell goes for at least 30. So I think that lets you know the importance of what he brings to the table, because they may have James Harden, but as you touched on, he's the guy. He's their star. I still don't consider him like in that upper echelon. Is that fair? Am I being unfair to Donovan Mitchell? I think he's as close to being in those game-changing stars, but he's 6'2". He doesn't play a ton of defense. And offensively, he's really, really, really good. But is it enough to make up for him not being a two-way player?
So, well, I think I love this type of conversation. We could do 3 hours just on this topic alone. But, what's the upper echelon? First, we got to establish that, right? Because are we going Jokic, Wemby, SGA?
Yeah, that type of thing.
And then is Giannis a step down? That Giannis is probably a slight half tier down?
Yeah, if you think that they can win MVP, that is the top tier.
Okay, well, then I would include him in that.
Oh, you would?
This is a guy that he was in that race for the, I don't know, man. With the rest of that competition I just listed, I don't think he's ever getting there.
Yeah.
Is he in that conversation with Jaylen Brown and Jalen Brunson? Yes, he is. He is that type of player.
This is probably a better way to frame it. Can you win a championship with Donovan Mitchell as your lead guy?
I think you can.
I agree. In today's NBA, you absolutely can. I think the world in the days of a big three, they're going by the wayside, right? We're looking more towards guys who can spread out on a roster, play well with others. It's not just about having 3 superstars. You're going to have a bench. You're going to have contributions everywhere. And I thought last night was an example with Detroit specifically where a lack of a bench or lack of secondary scoring really did them in. And they didn't have an answer for Donovan Mitchell on either end of the floor. Let's hear from Donovan Mitchell, who reacted to his historic performance.
I've had performances where I don't know if I've had 39, but I've had big second halves, right? Like, understand that, hey, like it's halves. It's quarters, it's halves. And the fact that, I can have a night like that and my teammates are right there for me, right? Like that's the biggest thing. And it gives you the confidence to go out there and still be aggressive. When you got this guy saying, like, we right here. Like, you understand, like we're still going to ride with you regardless. Evan, everybody just having my back and team to understand, like, hey, this is what you do. They're not really tripping on the fact that I started out one of whatever. And I think that's what also helps. You have the mental fortitude yourself, but when you have a group that not only supports you verbally, but then on top of that, it's a 4-point game going into halftime. So that speaks to the group as well.
Series is tied 2 games apiece. Okay, we still have yet to see a road team win a game in this series. It feels like that trend's going to continue. That's why when you look at the adjusted series price, the Pistons minus $1.50 favorites, Cavaliers plus $1.25, as neither team has won on the road just yet. And going back to that video, do we need to do like a deep dive into James Harden? Is he the Bruno Mars of the NBA? Does he actually want to retire, but he owes people money? And that's why he's there. It looks like a hostage situation. Buddy, you just won a playoff game. You just even the series. I've never seen anyone look more miserable.
It's been a long series for James Harden, okay? He's just trying to get through this thing, I think, at this point.
But even though Mitchell makes the history, to me, the big story coming out of this game is a lot to do with Detroit and the issues that continue to plague them when things don't go right. As a team that is so Cade Cunningham-centric, as a team that has a guy that is a great two-way player, not the best three-point shooter, but an offensive dynamo, gets everyone involved, he has no help. So when he has a night like he has last night and he struggles, specifically, with the turnovers, 5 turnovers in the game, only 19 points, 7 to 16 from the field, there's no one to pick up the slack. That is the big thing that jumps out to me with the Pistons that really concerns me, which then leads us to Jalen Duren, who in 27 minutes, 8 points, 2 rebounds, 2 assists. You can't start him anymore, Kelly. I don't think he can play starter minutes. 27 minutes is too much, especially when you look at the bench. Paul Reed gives you 15 points in 14 minutes. Karis LeVert drops 24 off the bench in 31 minutes. I think for Detroit, you've got a broken young player in Jalen Duren. It's clearly mental. It's now impacting the physical. And I don't want to pile on the kid because there was a moment where Cade Cunningham hit him with a wide open look to go to the basket, and it went right through his fingertips. I wanted to hug him. I've never seen an athlete need a mental health day like Jalen Duren just needs a day away from everything, because the player we saw look like an all-NBA player in the regular season, he has been nowhere to be found since we went to the playoffs.
Yeah, it's been a completely different story in the playoffs. Now, the one thing, I think the one positive I can take away this series is he is seemingly made more of an impact defensively against these Cavs bigs than what he was doing in that Orlando series. And that's where it's an interesting call by you. I think game 5, I'm sticking with him at home. I'm waiting to pull the trigger on that move. Maybe that's a game 6 move, but he might be on a short leash going forward. The problem is it goes back to what you said leading into it. Who else are you turning to? And man, I've been a guy yelling for, can I see a little bit of Karis LeVert? At least this is a guy at one point that used to score, be able to come off the bench and give you 15, 16 in a game. But is he really the long-term answer? I don't know, because Detroit sure hasn't believed in him in the playoffs so far. And then wait, with your bigs rotation, I guess, you're going to go Paul Reed over Jalen Duren. I don't know. You know what's even more concerning to me? I do want to see more. I want to see more Karis LeVert. What's more concerning to me, though, is it has to be Cade in this defense. The fact that Paul Reed, Isaiah Stewart, LeVert had similar usage rates to Cade Cunningham last night, that just can't be the case. It's got to be a lot of Cade.
100%. And that's why game 5, I think you have to think about the under. If Detroit's going to win, dictate the pace on their terms, slow it down. They know they can't go shot for shot with Cleveland. So the way to be victorious is a very ball-centric performance from Cade Cunningham. And then a low-scoring game where you rely on your defense, going back home there to Little Caesars. Now, there was a discrepancy in the game, as you had the Detroit Pistons getting to the free throw line 12 times and the Cleveland Cavaliers getting to the charity stripe 34 times, something that J.B. Bickerstaff, the head coach of the Pistons, was not too happy about after the game.
It's unacceptable. It is. We didn't do enough, obviously, to help ourselves, and I'll start there. But ever since we came to Cleveland, the whistle has changed. There's no way that one guy on their team shoots more free throws than our team. We're not a settle team. We're not a jump shooting team. We drive the ball, attack the paint. So what was done out there tonight, it's frustrating. But, we can't allow that to be the reason why, because we didn't play well enough and play to the best of our capabilities. But again, you look at the foul count, you look at the disparity, and that's hard to overcome. And you wonder, the reason why. It's interesting, since Kenny made his comments publicly about, us, the whistle's changed in this series.
Tale as old as time. Lose a playoff game, complain about the refs.
It's incredible.
Impact in the following game. Game 5 spread is 3.5. Detroit's laying it at home. 212.5 is your total. Give me the under. I think I like Detroit as well. I think everything goes back the other way in their favor.
Yeah, I mean, we talked about it yesterday. Total and side are very correlated to me. It would be lean both ways. I don't think I'm going to be on it. I've got some Cavs series stuff I think I'll be riding out here. But man, I don't feel like I can trust the Cavs on the road.
Nope.
And I just can't trust this Pistons offense. The defense is so good, but it's Cade in the defense. So that's all you can get. I can't bet on a team that's got one player that can trust on offense.
The question is, does Kelly Bidlin go back to the Tobias Harris under because it
Cash
finally
it, baby.
cashed for
Let's
the first
go.
time this postseason? That was one game. How about the West? LeBron James, the Lakers, they're out. OKC advances. What's that mean for not just LeBron's future, but maybe does that impact Giannis as well? That's coming up on the other side of a numbers game.
Racetrack Television Network brings you every race, from every track, on every screen, every day. With monthly packages starting as low as $5, RTN gives you great value and access to more live HD streaming and race replays than anyone. Visit RTN.tv today to sign up and watch on almost any device, including Roku and Amazon Fire. Use promo code TRYRTN for a 5-day free trial.
This is VSiN, a network of sports betting analysts, writers, hosts, and handicappers, all here to help you become a more confident bettor. We broadcast live every day from Las Vegas, the sports betting capital of the world, and from studios across the country, giving you insight from every angle of the action. Take VSiN with you wherever you go with the VSiN Watch app, or catch us on streaming platforms and regional sports networks. You can also listen live on SiriusXM Channel 158 and on radio stations nationwide. Check out VSiN.com as well for betting tools, exclusive betting splits, AI-powered player prop projections from Opta, pro picks for every game, plus in-depth betting guides and articles built to give you an edge. From sharp betting analysis and daily best bets to insider interviews and expert breakdowns, VSiN is your trusted source for everything happening in the world of sports betting. See everything we have to offer at VSiN.com and become part of the Sports Betting Network.
Coming up on the next edition of Follow the Money, the latest on the NBA and NHL playoffs and a good MLB card. John Hasselbauer, PGA betting analyst for lineups.com to talk PGA Championship. Derek Stevens on the contest and 2 days away from the NFL schedule. And the tip jar is open. Send in all your pizza money plays. We'll go over all your great parlays coming up. FTM at VSiN.com. Follow the Money 4 to 7 Eastern on VSiN. The Sports Betting Network, Sirius XM, Channel 158.
Numbers Game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Welcome to Tuesday. Dustin Sweetelson hanging out with you at the Circus Sportsbook with Kelly Bidlin for today and Friday. You'll get Matt Brown coming up here in the sandwich spot in between us. But
That's right.
we got a lot to get to today. Having fun with our guy, Kelly Bidlin. I'm reunited with my bearded brother here in the AM. Second day, waking up early. Neither of us missed our alarms. Congratulations to us.
That's right. I already got one podcast in the book, several others to go today.
Hold on. What time does that podcast get recorded?
Hardwood Handicappers, 6 o'clock Pacific time. Zach Cohen loves waking up early just to make room for me on a Tuesday.
Wow. Look at that. Zach Cohen adjusts his entire...
Zach Cohen, who would never complain about anything.
I was going to say, like, does he actually complain?
No, not at all. But I can see the fury in his eyes deep down.
Yeah, because he's pretty much in a world of sunshine and rainbows here at VSiN. Zach Cohen is a rare person who pretty much stays the same and is positive all the time.
He's got a great attitude about it, but I know he's constantly making time for me, and it's like, he's in Arizona, where the clock doesn't change, right? So half the year, it's 1 hour way worse for him.
Well, they have it right, by the way.
Of course they have it right. We're not getting into that. They have it right. The rest of the country has it wrong. Scan the QR code if you're watching at home for Hardwood Handicappers.
Yeah, and anyone trying to fade the Oklahoma City Thunder at this point, they have it wrong as well. There's only one thing to look at right now, and that's the Thunder winning the whole thing. In case you missed it last night, we have a sweep in the Western Conference semis. I don't know why we call it the semis. It should be called the second round. You know what that would be?
I always say the second round, I know.
Hardwood Handicappers, you guys should do a bit called the semis if you draw the correlation there, but between hardwood and semis. I digress. The Thunder still remain minus $1.75 to win the whole thing. They take down the Lakers. They advance 115 to 110. Game goes over the total 214. The Lakers, though, do cover the 12.5. LeBron 24, 12 and 3. And it was a close game. The Lakers actually had a lead pretty late in it, but the Thunder go on a 17-0 run in the second quarter. And then the Lakers went scoreless for over 6 minutes. They went from up 5 to down 12, traded some shots throughout the second half. But the Thunder did go into the fourth quarter, Kelly, trailing for the first time in this postseason. But they wind up getting the win on the back of A.J. Mitchell, who goes off again. Absolutely insane performance this guy is on. SGA, he gets home on the PRA that we bet, over 40.5. He finishes 35, 8-1. A.J. Mitchell, 28, 3-4. And the Thunder take care of business as we expected against the Lakers.
Yeah, man. It is. I don't even know what to say of the series as a whole, right? Like it was a sweep. It felt like a competitive sweep. Like I want to say that, like it was a competitive sweep, but also at the same time, like, did you ever think the Lakers had a chance in the series? Like, not really. Some great games from LeBron though. Austin Reeves bounces back. Rui Hachimura was great. There's some positives the Lakers can take away. And if you're the Oklahoma City Thunder, you brought up a name there. Look, A.J. Mitchell, I think for a lot of us that watch the NBA every day, I mean, we got Drew Dinsick coming up later on the show here in about 45 minutes. I know he had a ticket, 6-man of the year ticket on him, I believe 6-man, or most improved, heading into the season. And he was a guy that we were watching throughout the course of the year. He's become another one of these Thunder players, Dustin, where I think you say to yourself, I think he's really good. The problem is he's on the Thunder, so it's hard to tell how good he really is. But then these past few games, no Jalen Williams, it's 28 points, 24 points, 20 points, 18 points, 22 points. That's what he did over the last 5 games in the playoffs. It's pretty incredible what he's doing right now. Very important for Thunder's success.
Yeah, after what he did again last night, coming off this series where he averaged 22.5 points per game, 6 assists, 3 rebounds, 56% from the field, I took a little flyer. I went 200 to 1 A.J. Mitchell to be the NBA Finals MVP. What if there's a world where SGA doesn't have his best series? There's a focus on limiting him. They force someone else to beat them, whoever they may be facing. Could A.J. Mitchell be the guy who benefits? At 200 to 1, I think it's worth a shot. It's 200 to 1 for a reason. Now, you look at what Oklahoma City's doing. 12 teams in the NBA history have swept the first 2 rounds in a 7-game series. Prior to this one, the last one was the 2017 Warriors, who won the finals. Before that, 2017 Cavs, same year, lost in the finals. Year before that, 2016 Cavs, they won in the finals. So you're looking at the 3 last teams to do it all got to the finals, and 2 of them faced each other. So that means we have all winners. it feels inevitable. Oklahoma City's winning this whole thing again. I have been one of those people who tries to be a contrarian. I don't mind being wrong when I'm trying to be a contrarian here. And I've tried to fade the Thunder in certain instances between last year and this year. At this point, you just have to acknowledge greatness. That's what the Thunder are. They are a flawless basketball team with unmatched depth, cohesiveness, teamwork, chemistry. It's all there. And a coach that knows how to utilize all of his pieces. That's why we see A.J. Mitchell going off the way he did.
Yeah, it's incredible. I mean, they are the team to beat for sure. I think this is, as someone who was a Thunder ticket holder last year, but I got scared a little bit. I think they ran into some danger against Denver, right? Got taken to 7. It ran into some danger last year in the playoffs, 7 against Indiana, then in the finals. Man, I got scared enough by that, Dustin, wondering if there was just enough star power at the top here to take you through each one of these playoff series. That I didn't end up getting back on them in a futures capacity until the start of the playoffs when I grabbed a ticket for them to win the West. Look, I can't wait. I think we've got a great series in front of us here to be played out in the Western Conference semifinals between the Spurs and the Grizzlies. I would like to see a healthy Spurs team advance and see what we get out of that series. I think we're in store for a great Western Conference Finals.
Well, right now the Western Conference Finals are scheduled to start May 20th. The Thunder are going to get a pretty extensive break while they wait to find out who their opponent is. And just like the Knicks, they're hoping it goes 7. Mm-hmm. And that means you're stealing game 1, or you're winning game 1, I should say. But likely, like, whoever shows up is going to be so battered and bruised. What do they even look like? And then speaking of what do they look like, what do the Lakers look like next year? Because LeBron James is an unrestricted free agent, as is Rui Hachimura, Luke Kennard. You've got Jackson Hayes, Maxi Kleber. There's a player option for Reeves, Ayton, and Smart. But LeBron's the big boy here. As you know, he still has plenty left in the tank. He can contribute to a winning cause. But I look around the NBA right now, Kelly, and I don't really have a long list of teams that are willing to bring in a LeBron James. Has nothing to do with his ability, has nothing to do with the player. There's so many distractions. And also, you're turning your locker room over to LeBron James. So whoever your established leader is right now, that gets acquiesced when LeBron shows up. I can only list 2 teams that make sense to me, and I don't think he's back on the Lakers. It's the Golden State Warriors, where it's a bunch of old dudes trying to run it back together and win one last title, or it's the Cleveland Cavaliers because Cleveland will always take him home.
Yes, I think Cleveland's probably the most likely at this point. They are 32% over at Kalshi, right below staying with the Lakers at about 49%. We'll see, man. And this is a lot of, you just went through it, right? A lot about what does the team dynamics look like? What does the money look like? What is the role that LeBron James is willing to take? Reminder, this is not a role that he was, agreed to or anything with the Lakers. This is Luka Doncic got traded for, added to this team. He had to kind of find his place on this roster. So I think there's a good chance he's gone. And look, I think if you're a Lakers fan, it's weird to say this, it's LeBron James, but it's time to refocus this roster around Luka Doncic.
When you got new ownership, you made the move for Luka. And that was a sign of, I'm taking my franchise back. Rob Pelinka and LeBron James, they ran things for a while. LeBron was the GM making all the moves, pulling all the strings. At this point in his career, he is not good enough, I don't say good enough, but not at the peak of his abilities to be able to have that type of power to run your entire team. That's why I think the Lakers have to go down a different path. And Cleveland, 17% at Kalshi to land Giannis. Is there a world where the Cavaliers can manipulate this with the trades that make sense, where you're looking at potentially Giannis and LeBron coming to Cleveland next year together?
Oh man, I don't, because I don't think that's what you want if you're Cleveland. I don't think those two together are a good fit. I mean, you need 3-point shooting to win in the NBA. You put those two on the court together, there's not much 3-point shooting that's going on. I mean, I want to say greats can win with other greats, so I wouldn't count them out completely. But I don't think that's what Cleveland would look to do. It sounds like very much like Golden State is going to be. The early reports are Golden State very actively going to be after Giannis Antetokounmpo. The only thing I'm a little bit confused of with that report, Dustin, is they were the team that were set up best to go get Giannis before the trade deadline, knowing that if they waited, a lot of these other teams were going to come back into the picture. So why didn't they get it done then is kind of the question I've got right now. But, I mean, Giannis and Steph Curry together would be a fun match.
Warriors 21% to land Giannis. Orlando 21%. Boston 19%. Miami 17%. Cleveland 17%. And I was surprised the Clippers only 3%. I feel like the Clippers could put together a pretty nice package if they wanted to get Giannis. Orlando, you can throw that out right now. Giannis is not going to allow anyone to send him to another small market in the Magic. That is not happening, okay? So we'll get more into the Giannis market, what makes sense, who maybe to put a little bit of money on as well. And if you're looking to place your bets for the day, head to VSiN.com. We got you covered. Greg Peterson's baseball best bets, NBA playoff trends from Steve Makinen, and the Daily Racing Forum has their Tuesday picks. Right now, get 14 months of VSiN Pro for only $199 with promo code PRO. Head to VSiN.com/subscribe today. Will we have a goalie change on the ice tonight in the NHL? We'll break it down on the other side of A&G.
The guarantee? I hear it's massive.
They wouldn't do this unless it was something big.
There is no way it's that high.
I think it's even bigger.
It's huge. What? It's huge. Oh.
I'm down here at Circa, and I heard it's going to be gigantic. It's the biggest contest we've ever seen.
Seriously, what's the guarantee?
All right, guys. You're going to have to wait and see. The biggest pro football contests in the world are back. Visit circusports.com for more information.
Elevate your sports betting game with VSiN's exclusive betting splits. Stay ahead with real-time market trends and track bet percentages on any matchup. Then uncover the edge by comparing them to the amount of bets placed to find out where the sharp money is headed. Upgrade to VSiN Pro to access betting splits, live odds, line moves, power ratings, and in-depth game analysis. Go to VSiN.com/pro to join VSiN, the sports betting network.
This is VSiN, the sports betting network.
A numbers game on VSiN, the sports betting network.
Yeah, buddy. Welcome into Tuesday. He's Kelly Bidlin. I'm Dustin Sweetelson. You're locked into a numbers game. It's VSiN, the sports betting network. We've got some great guests lined up for the day. Coming up in about, 2 hours? About 2 hours, David Fizdale, former NBA head coach, will get his thoughts on the New York Knicks, his former team. But more importantly, I want to ask him, Jalen Duren, as a coach, how do you navigate those waters with a player who's clearly in his head? We'll chat with Mark Borchardt coming up in about an hour on Major League Baseball. Drew Dinsick, top of the hour with a preview of the Preakness plus some NBA with him. And right now, we're going to hit the ice. Jay Kahn, SiriusXM NHL Radio, co-host of The Point, Monday through Friday, 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern, and the Fantasy Hockey Show. Fridays, 2 p.m. Eastern, over on SiriusXM NHL Network Radio. And Jake joins us now via the Progressive Guest Line. Jake, thanks for getting up early and doing this as always. Great to chat with you, my friend. And before we look ahead to everything going on tonight, including a potential goalie change in the Buffalo-Montreal series, let's look back on last night as Colorado with the win 5-2. I don't know if you guys saw this, but the total in the game was 6.5. And we had a final goal to put it over with 8 seconds remaining, going the length of the ice. And weird, the Wild scored first. Game was at home. They still lost the game. Colorado, when you look at this team, Jake, what are the weaknesses? If they're not hoisting the cup at the end of this thing, what would be the key reason why? Because I'm having trouble figuring that out.
Dustin, first off, great to be on with you, doing a great job filling in for Gil here. I needed a break from Gil, so take your time, Gil. Glad to talk to you and Kelly here. Love Gil, but you guys are doing a great job here. Look, if there is a way that this all falls apart, and it's a question that we've debated on our shows the last few weeks throughout the postseason, I guess it would be goaltending falling apart, or maybe some key injuries to top players. That's the only thing I can look at, because I'm getting vibes from the team that won the Cup a few years ago. And if you look back at that team that won the Cup for Colorado, they swept the first round. They lost 2 games to the St. Louis Blues in round 2. So the Blues took them to 6. The Blues were a really solid team that year. And then they swept the Edmonton Oilers in the conference final. And then they beat Tampa Bay in 6 in the Stanley Cup final. So they only lost 2 games on their way to a Cup final. And then they lost 2 games in the Cup final as well, for a total of 4 losses in that whole run. We could be seeing something very similar here, guys. I don't see the Pacific winner putting up much of a fight against Colorado in a potential conference final. Maybe Minnesota finds a way to win another game, but Colorado has the chance now to close this out in 5, top to bottom, down the middle of the ice. They've got the goal scoring. They've got the blue line, certainly. They have the goaltenders. You could argue this is as good as the team that won a Cup a few years ago. You could maybe even sell me on the fact that this team could even be better than that team that made it look so easy.
Okay, I like hearing that. I'm surprised I'm seeing this still over at DraftKings. You can still get plus money on a Hurricanes Avalanche matchup in the Stanley Cup final. I bet
Really?
Yes, I bet this at the end of last week, plus 125.
That's crazy.
Who's screwing this up for me, Jake? If it's not those two teams, who's screwing this up?
Well, last week when you bet that, I would have said maybe Minnesota, and now that it's 3-1 Colorado, and that win last night was a huge key win for your bet there, Kelly. That's massive that Colorado was able to do that, and basically now tell Minnesota, well, you're going to have to beat us twice in Colorado if you're going to pull off the comeback. You'll have to win the next game. Obviously, they still have to win a home game in Minnesota in 6, and then a 7 in Colorado. So I like the Avs' chances of closing this out, and I don't think that Vegas or Anaheim will put up much of a fight against Colorado in the next round. I guess, Kelly, the one that could maybe throw a wrench into it would be the potential Buffalo-Montreal winner. And let's just say it's Montreal. They're up 2-1 in this series right now. They've looked good the last couple of games. The Habs just tend to have some magic in the postseason. And even though I'd look at those two rosters and I go, yeah, Carolina's the way better team, something about Montreal in the playoffs, they seem to find a way no matter what the roster looks like. And this is a really good team. So that would be my answer to you. The one team I would maybe worry about would be Montreal, but I think you're in a pretty good position right now for that Colorado final.
Hey, Jake, real quick, it's just me and you talking, just me and you. I'm pretty sure in the last 24 hours, I just talked Dustin Sweetelson into an NHL bet, and I got from a former professional hockey player a, quote, great question yesterday from Jody Shell.
Oh, I was going to say, do you remember the hockey players?
Of course I do. Of course I do. Of course I do. Just say, big 24 hours.
You're turning into a hockey guy.
That's right. Watch out.
You're turning into a hockey guy before our eyes. Yes. You come on the show anytime you want, Kelly. You're always welcome.
They call him Puck Bidlin for a reason, okay? Jake Hahn's our guest, Sirius XM, NHL Network Radio. We've got a game 4 tonight in Montreal where that place was freaking rocking, Jake. I went to a game there when I was like 9 years old, not the Bell Center, whatever it was before, and it was the craziest atmosphere I've ever experienced as a sports fan. It felt like European soccer. There was like in unison chants together scheduled at certain times. There was singing. It was a wild situation, which I think Buffalo was a little bit shell-shocked in game 3. Now we're here for game 4. Montreal's a minus 142 favorite, plus $1.20 the other way with the Sabres, total 6.5. But the big question is, do you anticipate a goalie change coming for the Sabres?
I think that it's very much on the table here. Now, Alex Lyon has been very, very good for Buffalo up to this point, but maybe you're looking for a spark. You just said it, Dustin. This is just a crazy environment for any player to have to play, but in particular, a goaltender. And, if the Habs get 1 or 2 and you kind of lose your focus and that crowd's on top of you chanting, ole, 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 it's you can really get away from you. And I think that's what we saw happen to Alex Lyon in the second period. He was pretty good in the first period of that game, and then it really came unglued for him. And I do like UPL, who I'd love to hear Kelly say UPL's full name when we're done here. Ukko-Pekka Luukkonen is the full name. We shorten it to UPL, but he's been a great goaltender for it. He started the playoffs for them. He actually won the first game, and then he let in a goal from center ice in game 2, and that was basically it for him. And I always felt like at some point, if the Sabres are going to go on a run, they got to get him back into the net. These two guys have formed a pretty nice tandem for them all year. So if it's me, I'd push the UPL button if I could find some sort of spark here, guys, and probably won't find out maybe even until closer to game time. We'll see if Lindy Ruff wants to show his cards after morning skate. I like Montreal to get it done here. Don't love the price laying that chalk, but on home ice at the Bell Center, it's just hard to see this team losing right now. I don't mind the under 6.5 here, though, guys. I know last game did go over the total, but it needed an awarded empty netter to do so. I think we could see this one played a little bit tighter. I think Buffalo's not going to want to make those same mistakes as the road team here. I think a tight, road style game will work for them. I could see this being in the, the 3-1, 4-1, 4-2 kind of range. So under 6.5 would probably be a play for me.
All right, I like it. Huge game back here tonight in Las Vegas. Game 5 between the not-so-mighty Ducks and the Golden Knights. Golden Knights minus 160, Ducks plus 135, total set at 6. What are you liking here to happen in this one tonight, Jake?
It's hard for me to not like the Ducks here in this spot, guys. And my reason is they look so good in the first 2 games in Vegas, and the price as well. I think this should be priced a little bit closer. I think it's more of a play on that than anything else, because I thought the Ducks were the better team in both games 1 and 2 in Vegas. Now I thought Vegas made some adjustments and actually looked quite good in games 3 and 4 in Anaheim. So, part of me says, well, maybe Vegas is kind of taking over the series slowly, and the Vegas is, the cream's rising to the top, and they're kind of figuring out Anaheim. I think early on they had a lot of trouble with Anaheim's speed and transition game, and Vegas just looked a lot slower than the Ducks did, and they handled that much better the last couple of games. So more of a price play for me here, guys. I think it should be priced very tight. Plus 135 does interest me a little bit with the Ducks. This one feels like it's got 7 games written all over it. Leo Carlson, the shot prop is somewhere I'm going back to. Now, he had no shots in the last game, shockingly, but he's basically for every single game throughout the course of this postseason. And Mitch Marner props, guys, that's where you want to be, the Vegas side of the ledger. He is heating up. The guy that here in Toronto, everyone said was not a playoff performer. It seems like he's up now for the Vegas Golden Knights. So point prop, shot prop for Marner will be on the card for me tonight as well.
All right, Jake, PGA Championship week. I know you love betting some golf. I'm sure you've looked at this already. Anything that you've bet outright-wise, top 20s, anything like that? Anybody that you're really focused in on this week?
So I haven't locked anything in yet, Kelly, and I want to pick your brain on it a little bit as well. It's hard for me to not circle around Cam Young right now and the way that he's playing, the golf that he has been playing. Now, he was very good to me at the Players with that outright selection, and maybe it's when a player wins for you, it's hard to quit them, as you know, Kelly, right? You hit an outright on them, and you think, well, why don't I just go back to the guy that was so good to me before? Maybe the price isn't quite right, but I'm seeing it up on your board there, 16-1. I think that's a pretty fair price for Cam Young, the way that he's he's playing right now, I'd certainly rather him over the live guys that are the great unknown. You know, Scotty and Rory are priced there for a reason. So Cam Young is where I would go, at least towards the top of the board. Brooks Koepka is very tempting to me, but it's hard to take him to win a major right now when he hasn't even been able to win PGA subfield events. So as much as I'm always tempted at Brooks, these types of golf courses, guys, I think I'd rather Cam Young 16-1, maybe shop it around a little bit. I think that's a pretty fair price. He's almost guaranteed to be in the top 5, in the top 10 these days. He's become very, very consistent, which is crazy to say for a guy like Cam Young, Kelly. I know you've probably followed him the last few years. Yep. The least player we'd call consistent, that's for sure.
Yeah, you're seeing 16-1 over at DraftKings, kind of that number around the country. Much shorter here in Vegas, if that means anything to you. But yeah, I am on Cameron Young this week. More to come on long shots later today, Dustin Sweetelson. But I will say, Cameron Young, I am in on, Jake, so I'm with you.
We'll check out long shots. We'll also check out Jake, SiriusXM, NHL Network Radio today, 1 p.m. Eastern Time. He's Jay Kahn. Appreciate the time as always, my friend.
Thanks, Dustin. Thanks, Kelly. Good luck, guys.
All right, when we return, we got to hit a little baseball, including a team that was no hit deep into the game yesterday, wound up losing, plus some plus money prices I'm going to chase on the Tuesday card. That's on the other side of ANG.
VSiN's player prop projection tool is now available for the NBA. Get projections for points, assists, rebounds, and more powered by Opta AI. On VSiN.com/NBA props, we line up our projections against the latest DraftKings odds so you can quickly spot mismatches and find value before the market adjusts. The NBA player prop projections tool is available exclusively to VSiN Pro subscribers. Check it out now at VSiN.com/NBA props and join us on the Sports Betting Network.
Your favorite VSiN shows and personalities are now available to download as podcasts. Catch every hour of our live broadcast with VSiN Best Bets, or find your go-to show and download it directly. Get instant reactions to last night's games, sharp analysis on today's biggest matchups, and everything in between. Whether you're commuting, working out, or just catching up, VSiN lets you take the action with you wherever and whenever you want. Search VSiN on your favorite podcast platform and get in on the action with VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Numbers Game on VSiN, the Sports Betting Network.
Dustin Sweetelson in the big chair, hanging out with Kelly Bidlin here on the Numbers Game. Thanks for making us part of your morning, however you may be tuning in. Sirius XM Channel 158, YouTube TV, the VSiN Watch app, and radio affiliates across the United States of God Bless America. Here's the question I have for you, Kelly Bidlin, is, we're talking with all the usuals today.
Yeah.
Jake Hahn just now on hockey. If you missed that conversation, go back. Get it wherever you get your podcast. Drew Dinsick, top of the hour. Little horse racing, little NBA with him. Mark Borchard in the following hour as well. Is there a part of Gil Alexander that will be upset that you're using his weekly guess with me?
I don't know. That's impossible to read Gil on, but no, I wouldn't. Not these guys. These guys know the deal. The Tuesday regulars, they're in no matter what. They never get a week off.
I just think from a cerebral standpoint, though, they have been forewarned that it's not Gil and me because there's pretty much a drop-off in IQ in the conversation when that change is made. Have they been made aware?
They're good sports. That's actually a great question. I don't know if Danny made them aware or not. I'm assuming he did. But
it's like I'm looking at some of the NFL schedule leaks, and one of the leaks that we're seeing is that the Chiefs and the Broncos are going to play the first Monday Night Football game potentially. We hear you in the back, guys. And right now, as of now, I'm not sure if Patrick Mahomes plays in that game. I'm not sure if Bo Nix plays in that game, but it's going to be marketed as an AFC West showdown, Monday Night Football, the Chiefs and the Broncos. That's kind of like telling a weekly guest, hey, you're good for your usual spot. Unfortunately, it's Dustin Sweetelson, and he's kind of dumb, not Gil Alexander for the conversation.
That's exactly what Danny texted them. That's what I told them. It's like the Chiefs being on a Monday Night Football game without Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah, no.
If you're down for that, come and join us.
It's promoting Mahomes versus Knicks all offseason, only for us to tune into Justin Fields and Jared Stidham.
That's right.
No offense, but I think I'm Justin Fields in this situation. You're Jared Stidham. There's some stability there for you. Man. But either way, look, that's where we stand with what's going on the show.
Know why. I'm slightly offended by that, and I don't know why. Because you're right. I don't really know that there's a right answer there.
I think you'd rather be Stidham.
Okay.
I feel like you'd rather be Stidham. And then I have to apologize to you because yesterday I talked you into a baseball bet. I love the Yankees, and I love their team total, and unfortunately, neither one got home. By the way, they were no-hitting Baltimore into the seventh inning, and Baltimore wound up winning 3-2. Kobe Mayo, who's hitting 158 on the year with the go-ahead homer. Ryan Weathers, 6 1/3, 1 hit, 2 earns, 9 strikeouts. Of course, we like the over 5.5 Ks. We did not bet it. That always gets home. Ben Rice with his 13th home run for the Yankees, though in a losing effort. Aaron Judge and Ben Rice, 16 and 13 home runs on the year between the two of them. Fastest Yankee duo to reach 13-plus home runs in a season. Wow. When you think about Maris and Mantle and you think about some of those lineups from the late 90s and early 2000s, it's kind of shocking that Ben Rice and Aaron Judge, quickest to 16 and 13-plus homers in a season.
That is the most shocking thing I'm going to hear on the show all day. I mean, it's not like it's super early in the season either. With some of the names, that you would think with the Yankees. Jeez.
And then we have to have a Dodgers conversation, how it impacts some of these futures markets, because in case you missed it, the Dodgers lost last night to the Giants 9-3. That is now a losing streak. Lou Brown taught me in Major League. 3 in a row, that is a streak. And all of a sudden, the Dodgers, second place in the NL West. They are behind San Diego looking up. They're on a 95-win pace this year. This is not what we anticipated from the best team money can buy, maybe the deepest roster we've ever seen assembled in the history of baseball. And a key contributor of that is Shohei Ohtani. He went 0 for 5 last night. He is really struggling. And Dave Roberts came out and said he is not going to hit on Wednesday or Thursday. He's pitching one of those days. But this is a guy who's the favorite to win National League MVP. And you have to question the voters. Is just being a dual threat player, pitching and hitting. If one of them isn't having an MVP caliber year, is he still worthy because he's doing both jobs, right? He's like a single mother. He's washing, drying, and putting away the dishes every single day with no help from anybody. But does it still warrant him being such a heavy favorite to be your MVP? Because right now, looking at the market, he's minus 330. Yeah. And if he doesn't carry the water offensively, but the pitching's there, I don't know if that's enough to be the MVP.
So I completely agree with you because I think we're far enough along now in Shohei's career, right? The fact that he's doing both shouldn't be the only thing that gets you an MVP. You should be doing both well. And I know he's pitching well this year, but yes, the hitting has dropped off. I think the question, Gil and I were talking about this end of last week. I think the question is, who do you look to next on that board, right? Matt Olson, I think, is putting up a good season. He has a good case. He's 9-1. Then it's a pretty big drop after that. And are we talking about good enough MVP cases to go and catch those couple guys at the top?
I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, because if I'm looking at this market and I'm looking at the top of the board, I begin with Elly De La Cruz in Cincinnati. Mm-hmm. He's having a monster year. I need someone with gaudy numbers. I need eye-popping across the board. I'm not saying he gets there, but this is a talent that if everything comes together, he's a 40-40 guy. Heck, he's a 40-50 guy, 40-60 guy. It could be like Ronald Acuna Jr. a few years ago. If it all comes together, it's a huge if. But at 22-1 right now, I have him 30-1 from a few weeks ago. I think that's a guy I'd consider in this market. Outside of that, we're going to go deep down the board here, Kelly. Because
okay, no, I like it.
I think you got to get weird.
I think it's completely fair, and I think this is a good time for you to grab one of these bets while Shohei's still priced at minus 330.
Exactly.
Because if this continues, that number is going to plummet.
So it's less about numbers and more about narrative with the guy I want to look at. Now, I've made the case for this guy even in the offseason. I bet him 45-1 before the year started. Now, he is living up to the billing, and his number is now 100-1. As the Pittsburgh Pirates are currently sitting 22-19 on the season. They are above 500. They look like a playoff team. And if they get to the playoffs, you will turn to one person to give all the credit to because he has changed the entire future of this organization just by being drafted by them. And that would be Paul Skeens.
Wow.
Paul Skeens is 100-1 to be your National League MVP. Here's the narrative that goes with it. This is a fledgling organization that can't get out of its own way, only to be brought up by the bootstraps by a game-changing force on the rubber. And if it's not Ohtani, I need the narrative that if Paul Skeens wasn't pitching for Pittsburgh, we're looking at a team that is not only not a playoff team, but competing maybe for a top 5, top 10 pick in the draft next year. I think you have to go narrative-based, not numbers-based, narrative-based. This could be a situation where if Ohtani's out of the running, Paul Skeens could wind up being like Justin Verlander not that long ago, winning MVP and Cy Young in the same season. Because if the Pirates make the playoffs, you're looking at one guy who got them there because every fifth day, he is absolutely taking things to a different level. He's pitching at the peak of his powers. And, I was looking at the Cy Young market just like a couple weeks ago. And I was like, you know what? He's 2-1. Has he been that good? And I wanted to be contrarian. I was like, I don't know if he should be priced like that. Well, since I had those thoughts and I said them out loud here on the network, well, all he's done is just reel off dominant performance after dominant performance. 42 innings on the year for him, 46 strikeouts, a 2.36 ERA. He also goes today. He's coming off a shutout of Arizona. He had one rough going against St. Louis. But outside of that, and then the Mets opening day, which really wasn't his fault, O'Neal Cruz dropped an easy fly ball. I think Paul Skeens is the guy you look at if you're fading Ohtani 100-1 to be the MVP.
All right, so I think this is interesting because now you're talking about another pitcher for MVP, right? So you're going to go, I think the counter is going to be, well, he doesn't hit, right? Ohtani hits, he doesn't hit. How much better of a pitcher a pitching season does he have to have than Shohei Ohtani? And I think it's probably pretty significant.
Yeah, but he's going to. And I have Ohtani 25-1 to win Cy Young. What if they make the case where Ohtani, who's not going to have as many starts because they have a 6-man rotation in Los Angeles, what if Ohtani wins Cy Young and they give MVP to Skeens? Maybe it's two pitchers winning this award because as you started at the beginning of this whole thing, there really isn't a great number 2 option. Matt Olson's awesome. He has a ton of power. I don't know if those numbers will be MVP numbers at the end of the year.
Right.
De La Cruz, look, I like him because of the possibilities across the board. That doesn't mean it's going to happen.
It just feels like he should have longer odds, right? Like can Kyle Schwarber go on a month-long home run tear? Yes, we've seen it before, but I'm not betting on that at 28-1 on May 12th.
No, and I've seen people make the case for O'Neal Cruz at 55-1. O'Neal Cruz may go 40-40. He also may strike out 200-plus times. I'm not sure the average will be there in the end to be an MVP. And if we're going to talk about who the best player on the Pirates are, if we're going to give it to someone from that team, Paul Skeens is the best player on the Pirates. Paul Skeens has changed the whole trajectory of the organization. That's why I think he's the guy to look to. It's a long shot. It's a
like
long
it,
shot
man.
for a reason, but I'm into Paul Skeens as a potential MVP candidate. I liked it in the preseason. Now that it's better, I'll take the 100 to 1.
I was trying to find a shop for you. I don't know if anybody allows this, but I think what you said before when you were talking about it, if he wins, he's winning both awards, right?
Oh, we can't parlay.
Can you parlay the awards?
They might let us here if you do it at the counter, but most places don't let you do it on
just
the
try
app.
DraftKings and FanDuel. They're not letting that happen. But it's worth trying. I mean, right? You said it. He's winning both if he wins MVP.
It's not unprecedented. I'm trying to think. Verlander, there's a couple instances, Sandy Koufax, but there's been one recently that I'm totally sleeping on. Was there a San Francisco Giant win MVP, Cy Young, same year? Come on, Google, hook me up here. 11 pitchers have won both, ever.
Wow.